Hello, my fellow journaling enthusiasts. I come to you today from my porch. I am practicing staying at home and being outside at the same time. So, luckily for me, I have a nice porch that I can actually be on and it overlooks the woods. So, I wanted to share two different amazing books that I love with you. One is Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. And this one is Poem Crazy by Susan Goldsmith Woolridge. I have two different. Our prompt this week is about clothing or laundry. It's actually pretty hard to find something that's specifically about clothing or laundry. So I thought I would say a little bit about just writing as practice. This whole book is about freeing the writer within and just practicing writing. What Natalie Goldberg says is this is the practice school of writing. Like running, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Some days you don't want to run and you resist every step of the 3 miles, but you do it anyway. A lot of times I don't even go quite 3 miles, but you practice whether you want to or not. You don't wait around for inspiration or a deep desire to run. It'll never happen, especially if you're out of shape and have been avoiding it. But if you run regularly, you train your mind to cut through or ignore your resistance. You just do it. And in the middle of the run, you love it. And when you come to the end, you never want to stop. And you stop, hungry for the next time. And then she makes an interesting point. It's odd that we never question the feasibility of a football team practicing long hours for a single game. Yet in writing, we rarely give ourselves the space to practice. So that caught my eye a lot. I thought about that a lot after I read it. I was like, yeah, football players, baseball players, track runners, marathon runners, they spend a lot of time practicing, doing small things to build up to their whole, what they're going to do on game day. So writing is the same. And of course, those people that do those kind of sports, they really like it. So it's something you have to find the way that you like it. And the next paragraph starts, when you write, you don't say, I'm going to write a poem. That attitude will freeze you right away. Again, this whole book is filled with inspiring short chapters about just how to put pen to paper and write. And I like that she says, you don't say I'm going to write a poem, because in this book, it's called Poem Crazy. It's all about writing poetry, and yet there's so much in here that you don't have to, it's not having to write a poem. It's just about life and observing and being part of life. And so she even says in here, you can't teach poetry, you can't teach writing poetry, but there seems to be so many rules about writing poetry. So I like the idea of just writing, not worrying if maybe it'll look like a poem, maybe it'll come out like a poem, but not setting out to write that poem, or it could stop you in your tracks and you won't even get in the practice that you want or need. Since we were talking about laundry and or clothes during this time of COVID-19, I did find a chapter called The Blue Socks. I won't read the whole thing, it's a little bit long. I'll send a snapshot in my email, but it's a really funny little entry. One summer in Chicago, my brother John made fun of our dad Julian about the tacky blue socks he was wearing. They were sky blue nylon with 2 black stripes around the top. That's what started the whole thing, John said. The socks were so ugly. And so this is all about how he and his parents kept exchanging these socks, and they never spoke about it. It would just show up in a gift in the bottom of a pencil mug, or the parents would come to visit and he had put them onto the dining room table legs. So these socks became, as she puts it later, kind of like a love letter. Like the blue sock, a poem, and I'm going to use journal entry for our sakes. Like the blue sock, a journal entry creates an exchange that brings people closer. I'll talk about that in a second, but the journal entry can be a gift or surprise. It can shock, unexpected. It can be a shock, unexpected, and often unacknowledged. John and my parents never talked about the blue socks. That's the beauty of it, he insisted. Emily Dickinson wrote, "This is my letter to the world that never wrote to me." So that was a poem she probably wrote. But again, it could be a journal entry. In a sense, a poem or a journal entry, like each hidden sock, is a love letter. Even if we don't know to whom we're sending it, or if it will arrive, or if anyone will receive it. So I think in writing our journal entries this week or any week, any time, the thought that it is a love letter, something unspoken, maybe nobody will see it, but it will make a difference. It'll be like practice, and it will connect us to ourselves and quite possibly to other people. All right, I will be seeing you guys later this week.